To begin my President's Report, I would first like to welcome our Seven Bridges and Bell Middle School students, faculty, administrators. They are here to give us a presentation on their journey as middle school writers. I can't wait to see what you have prepared. Here are a few things I would like to highlight in my President's Report. Parent-teacher conferences happened November 3rd and November 4th. It was our first time having K-12 parent-teacher conferences, and it was really a successful event, I think. It was such a wonderful opportunity for both parents and teachers to connect, to talk about different ways we can support our students in our partnership between home and school. We have asked the community for feedback, and hopefully we can take what we learned this time and make it even better for the March spring conferences. Thank you again to all our dedicated teachers, staff, and building leaders. I would also like to congratulate all the fall student athletes and coaches for a great season. The athletic department is still waiting on the individual awards, but we are ready to announce the team recognitions and awards. Hold on while I pull up the list. So congratulations to the varsity boys cross country, Ryan Sykes, New York State qualifier, varsity girls cross country, league champions, Milena Santee, New York State qualifier, varsity field hockey, league champions, section champions, regional finalist. Wow. Varsity girls swim and dive, Serene Jordy, New York State qualifier, Finley White, New York State qualifier, Nicole Conway, New York State qualifier, Hannah McMullen, New York State qualifier. Varsity girls tennis, league champions, section champions, New York State runner-up. Danielle Rosenblit, section 1 and New York State doubles champion. Michelle Rosenblit, section 1 and New York State doubles champion. Sadie McFadden, New York State doubles qualifier. Scarlett McFadden, New York State doubles qualifier. Varsity volleyball, league champions. Congratulations to you all. Another round of thank yous to all the Greeley administrators, Dr. Seppi, Dr. Gamma, Dr. Sullivan, Ms. Flores, and Ms. Mauricio, along with Dr. Ackerman and Mr. Corsilia for being present at the second induction ceremony for students that were unable to attend the first. All for giving their wonderful speeches a second time, including Mrs. McKee. And I think parents have come up to me actually after the event to say how impressed they were that so many administrators were present at the second ceremony. They felt really special, so thank you for that. One of the other things I would like to highlight is that Ms. Dorfman, my vice president, and I, alongside our superintendent and the assistant superintendent of HR, Mr. Corsilia, were able to meet with the CCT leadership, the president, Mr. Petruso, and also vice president, Mr. DeBellis. We come to the table to have conversations around how we can better serve all of our students in the district. I really enjoy our time. We meet twice a year, and we just talk about ways we can improve in our different roles as partners to make all of the experiences for our students even better. So thank you for your dedication. The board has also met this past Monday for a work session to discuss whether or not we would like to move to a new platform, discussing our committee charges and responsibilities and our policy manual review. I will not go into great detail about it since the work session was recorded and you can access them online. But we have completed the charges and responsibilities for all of our committees and are moving forward with the policy review. And the board docs discussion is to be continued. I'm perfectly confident and happy to recommend to the district to move forward with the moving to this new platform for greater efficiency, less errors, and more transparency. But we will revisit this topic again in the near future because we have some more thinking and conversations to be had. I also attended the Managing Conflict Learning Session Roundtable style hosted by WPSBA. It's always good to hear from other board colleagues and superintendents from different districts in our region. Managing conflict seems like a lifelong and ongoing work. It's really very hard work, and I'm committed, and hopefully everyone is committed to doing it. At last but not least, thank you to all the SHARE students and Horace Greeley Scholarship Fund for a wonderful night at the Spelling Bee. Congratulations to the winners, Bell Middle School students, Mia Long, Natalie Jung, and Alyssa Kim. I believe the format has changed where the adults and the community members cannot compete against the students any longer. So there was some chatter around the community members who participated and felt like they were sort of tied. And that was the Sports Boosters team. So they felt like they won the community round, but could not advance to the championship round against the students. But I think we all know that it wasn't fair for many, many years. So congratulations to Bell Middle School and the 3 students that were on that team. And if you missed it, it was a fun night for all. If you missed it, please join us next year. It happens every year.
So now I'm going to turn it over to Matthew, who's going to do his student report.
All right, thank you, everybody. So here is an interesting looking photo of all of us on a Zoom on K-12 student government meeting where we met last week and today. It was this was from the student governments from all 6 schools with Dr. Ackerman and Ms. Kolpa, the district's coordinator for student culture and belonging, and all of the building principals. And it was really fantastic to all get together. And it was my first time. It was my first time meeting with the elementary school students since their student governments had been formed. So it was great meeting them. But our main point of discussion was our district-wide community service initiative that we are excited to introduce when we're calling it Stuff the Bus. So when we were on this meeting, we all discussed what this could look like, and what we've kind of come up with is that we're going to do a food and clothing drive where the donations will go to the community center of Northern Westchester. There's an extreme need during this time of year for several items that I don't know if you can see on the right, but there's items such as new hats and blankets and coats and pasta and rice and beans and all sorts of items. And so we're gonna do donations. Donation bins at each of the 6 schools and at the district office, and then throughout the week of Monday, November 17th until Friday, November 21st, and then on Friday, November 21st, all of the student representatives from the student governments and Dr. Ackerman and myself will all be going around to each of the schools, collecting all of the donations, and then delivering it to the community center of Northern Westchester. So we are really excited for this to begin next week, and there's been communication to all the schools through the morning announcements, and there will be parent communication on Friday to have all students and families know about this awesome event that we are looking forward to have. And the best part about it is that it is led by our students in the student governments, which is very important, and we're looking forward to it. So
Matthew, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is this the first time that we've done like a whole district-wide community service event?
yes, the first
I really
time.
love that.
Yes, it's
I
gonna be
think that's great.
I'm giving you all the credit. It's amazing.
No, a lot of other people are working very hard for this, so
I'm giving it to you. We've never done it before. This is your first year, so I'm drawing a great straight line.
I really love the title, Stuff the Bus.
It's great.
I love it.
Are we literally doing that? Are we stuffing all the stuff
Yeah.
in one bus and then driving? I love
Uh,
it. Right, we might need one of those.
And so then for the normal update, I got an update from the elementary school and middle school student governments, where they have been having their weekly meetings since the beginning of the school year. And they've been doing a lot of Halloween themed advisories with pumpkins and just, community building within those advisories. From the elementary schools, I heard from Grafflin and West Orchard that they were really trying to take leadership at school-wide events, and at Grafflin they are leading their town meetings, which are the assemblies that they have that are school-wide. And the student government from West Orchard was judging the trunk or treat competition that happened a few weeks ago, which is very cool. They're also bringing in ideas for spirit weeks, and the elementary school students were very insistent that on bringing ideas to their building administration and we're very excited about them. Something that West Orchard said was they wanted to have a giant school map to help visitors and new students. And they also suggested a drop everything and write day instead of the traditional drop everything and read day, which I think would be very cool. There was also some student elections for the middle school student governments at Bell and Seven Bridges, and then there was a wellness activity that Roaringbrook planned as well. At the high school, we had our Diwali celebration that I believe was spoken about at the last meeting, but I heard from many students within the past couple of weeks that the event, which was led by our Sames Club, was a great event. So it's fantastic to hear. And Ms. Huang mentioned this during her president's report, but there's a ton of success for our sports teams, whether it's during regular season or in the playoffs. But it was always great to see those teams performing very well. She also mentioned the parent-teacher conferences, which obviously I don't know a whole lot about, but I do want to thank the teachers for working very hard the past couple of weeks for preparing for those conferences. I know it was a lot of work, and I know it only goes to benefit the students. So thank you for that. And the PTA provided pumpkins, continuing with the pumpkins, for our freshman peer groups to decorate last week. And then something important that happened also was there was monthly, there's a club leader meeting for the presidents of all the clubs at Greeley that meet with our student life coordinator, Ms. Olmo. And Dr. Seppi joined the meeting this few weeks, I guess it was last week, where she got feedback on the cell phone policy and how things were going there.
How are things going?
Okay. Yeah, and I think the revision for the policy is on the agenda tonight. So,
How do you feel about that?
What are you hearing? Just give us a couple examples.
well, for the most part, everything in the class and within each classroom during class time is okay. But there's a lot of issues, and Dr. Seppi has expressed her concern and really been clear about the expectation is that we can't be on our phones in the hallways or during passing times or during our free periods. It's the state law. We have to comply. And so it's been challenging for students and challenging for teachers to be policing that and just making sure everybody's following the rules. So that's important.
Matthew, before I start my report, do you want to acknowledge something happening at your house that you're missing today?
Oh boy, he's not gonna be happy about that.
Dad's birthday.
By the way, his dad is my pickleball partner,
Oh.
and he's 50 years young today. So Mike Wolstetter, wherever the camera is, happy birthday. But say happy birthday to your dad.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, Matthew, thank you for joining us today, and we appreciate your father for allowing you to spend his birthday with us. So thank you for that.
He's really becoming a board member, like sacrificing a lot of family time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Must have been
Happy
nice.
birthday
Great.
to Matthew's dad.
I'm enjoying it. It's all.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so just in terms of the community update, we wanted to just share with you some of the survey feedback we received from parent-teacher conferences. So we put something out just really briefly, just to help us in our thinking as we plan for March. So Adam, did you want to describe this?
Yeah, so the survey window just closed at 3. So thanks to Dr. Schoenbart, he crunched some numbers for us quickly. You can see the response rate at the end there on the left side. We surveyed parents and staff members at the elementary and also the secondary levels. And we were able to analyze, do a quick analysis of that or those data that came in. You can see on the bottom left, there were some Likert scale questions. And so generally, folks felt that communication was clear. It was easy to follow. The scheduling system worked very well. It was easy to navigate, and that the conferences were meaningful and productive. So good feedback there. You can see we were interested in the conference length. The secondary conferences were 7 minutes long. The elementary conferences were 20 minutes long. We did that because we wanted to make sure there were as many slots as we could, so we could, generally see as many parents as we needed to. And there were no teachers that filled up completely. So there were slots left, but we can now that we have that data, we can do an analysis of, to what extent could we potentially lengthen them and still be able to meet the, projected needs. So we have a little more data on adjusting the length. And then you see on the second slide, you'll see little bit more of a summary of kind of glows and grows, some commendations and considerations. So parents generally, they appreciated the virtual option, like you can meet in person or you could meet virtually. They appreciated the level of teacher preparation, the flexibility. I think that was a nod to you could come during the day, and also there were some evening options. They also, several parents mentioned the shift back to teacher-led conferences. We had experimented with student-led conferences in 5th and 6th grade, and we shifted back to the teacher-led conferences. And then there were some considerations for parents about the length of session. Generally, we got a lot of feedback from parents that they would like a little bit longer sessions and a little bit more transition in between. It was a challenge for parents to move from place to place for those that had back-to-back conferences. There are some of these things that are easy to do, like signage, for example, and then other things that are a little more challenging. Several parents mentioned that they had multiple students in the district and they were kind of moving in between schools. And so they suggested, could we consider a more consolidated location? So that could be, that could be challenging to do, but it's good feedback for us to consider. And then you see on the right side, the staff really appreciated the opportunity to connect with families. They felt productive. They felt like, good supportive conversations around student performance. Some considerations were commentary around like increased transition times, opportunities for faculty to have breaks. Some faculty did have, several hours of back-to-back conferences. So that was challenging. And then they also asked for some more guidance or templates around like the conference structure, like how should I be spending that time with parents? What's the expectation there? So some good feedback. This is just a preliminary kind of overview of it, but we'll get a group together to really like dig in and make some recommendations as to next steps for
Right.
conferences.
And the CCT also did like an additional survey, so we need their data too, so we figure out what the next steps are.
I will say though, how impressed I was I was also concerned as a parent, because I had 3 kids and I made all of my appointments and I wasn't sure what was going to be said in 7 minutes. And then if I arrived late, right, to the next one, and then what happens? I'm down to 5 minutes. But I have to say, I was so impressed at how much a teacher can share in 7 minutes. But I think that really speaks volumes about how prepared all of the teachers were in welcoming the parents into the classrooms. So I really appreciated that. But no one is, saying, please don't give us more time. But I really think we could benefit from more time. But I will say that from where we are, like being that this was a first go around, like it was pretty impressive how much information was exchanged in 7 minutes.
And so Andrew, did you want to talk about our speaker for the high school for National Inclusive Schools Week recommended by the Community Culture and Belonging team?
Sure. There's a lot of plans going on for all buildings for National Inclusive Schools Week, but at the high school, we've invited Brian Williams. He's the founder of an organization called Think Kindness, and his message is that everyone has the capacity to influence somebody's life for the better. And while he has worked on, a very big scale, he's spoken to over 1.5 million students. He's collected over 300,000 shoes to deliver to people in need. He's produced some documentaries and he's done some international work. His focus is really local and small and practical. And so he's going to come speak to the high school, but he would like to, on the 4th of December, Zoom with our leaders of our student organizations to engage them and get them to buy into a 15-day kindness challenge and help to create that with us. And he does this. One of the things he does is a 15-day kindness challenge to really spark a community of compassion within the school. So we're really looking forward to having him.
I'd also like to say in our student government meeting, they went right to National Inclusive Schools Week and they were like, what are we going to do together? It was great. So we're going to stuff that bus and then we're going to come back to the K-12 group and we're going to talk about some things that we can do that's unified across the 6 schools. So I love that. Okay, so I did want to do a brief update on our shared middle school clubs because you'll see on the agenda tonight, we did have to combine the BSU and Alliance for Equity based on attendance. So in trying to figure out how to support both groups of students, Tanuke Culpa is going to take on both identity-based clubs on Tuesday, which we think will work out nicely because we were having some conflicts with Thursday's club attendance. And then I just wanted to show you, what our numbers look like to date. And you can see that our most popular class right now is acting. So we had to add another support staff. And then you may have heard that I've been working with the academic challenge students because we have a club program here, but we have a number of families that want to go beyond that. I think the best way to describe it, it's like you have a soccer program and then kids that want more, they're in like on an AAU team. And for us, the way that a lot of the academic teams work is that they can't just participate independently, like an independent athletic program. They have to be connected to us in a way for me to authorize registration.
So you mean there's no like club team,
Well,
like a private
there's no way for private
club teams to sign
yeah,
up?
private parent teams to sign up like a private club team can. So
Mhm.
I've been working with a pocket of students and their families in Seven Bridges and in Bell. I feel like we've come up with a good system where I can do the necessary paperwork for these two groups to participate under pseudonym teams in competitions outside of the academic challenge club, but where we don't have ownership of what they're doing because it's more like a private team, but they have the ability to do so based on some of the releases and paperwork that we've been able to fill out for them. So this has been like, we've been dealing with some of this at the high school level for debate, but now I'm starting to see it happening at the middle school level based on what our kids would like to do with their parents, like competing in other states, in other countries. And so it's a great problem to have, but I just wanted to provide an update, like I continue to work through these requests that our families have, trying to get to yes, but also, you know, maintaining like the integrity of the district and what we are chaperoning and are supporting versus what we're verifying in terms of like students are enrolled here, and we acknowledge that students are going with parents to competitions, but we're not chaperoning them, and we're not they're not participating on behalf of our school district. So been working on that for about 3 weeks now with Andrew Cresilius. So I think we're in a good place, and I don't think this will be the last group of students that want to compete competitively academically, but at least I feel like we have a structure now to be able to support our students in the way that they would like us to.
And I really appreciate that because I think that some of the families have been struggling for a number of years and trying to figure this out with the district. And I'm just glad that, you know, going forward, that we have a clear process and a structure and a way for our students to participate who deserve to participate and who want to and have worked really, really hard to be part of these competitions that are very prestigious. And so it would be, you know, again, the same as if you were, you know, competing in sections and then in states and then competing in nationals and then maybe even going to the Olympics, right? So I really appreciate the district and the families coming together to try to figure out a way that is going to really just serve our students better in a way that is safe and makes sense for the district, but also for our families. So thank you for that.
Kelly. Okay, and so we had a specialized training that I'd like Yasmin to share with the board this past week.
Sure. So on Friday, we brought together the school psychologists and school social workers to have a specialized training and to look at our suicide risk assessment that's currently in place. And so we were very fortunate to have Mr. Adam Lesser, who has trained over 100,000 individuals on the Columbia Suicide Severity Rating Scale. And he is the Deputy Director for Implementation, and he is an Assistant Professor of Clinical Psychiatric Social Work in the Division of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry at Columbia University. And so we were very lucky to have him in person train our staff on this tool, which is evidence and research based. It is a tool that supports a suicide risk screening through a series of simple, plain language questions that our clinical team can use, and it gauges and it gauges and identifies whether someone is at risk for suicide and determines the severity and immediacy of that risk, and it gauges the level of support And so he was able to present to our team in order to be able to equip them to identify students at risk early on. It is a tool, since it's research-based and has been used across many settings, including educational research-based settings, as well as hospitals and many avenues for police and firefighters. It is something that is in alignment and recommended by New York State Education Department for their suicide prevention guidelines, and it can enhance our capacity to respond effectively to students' needs. And so our next level of implementation is to really integrate it into our school-wide suicide prevention protocols, to then monitor its effectiveness of use of assessment, and to make sure that we're providing ongoing supports to our clinical staff while also providing the as-needed refreshers. So this is something that really supports the totality of our needs for students as, you know, their issues come to light.
Thank you.
No problem.
And
Uh,
then,
um,
oh, sorry.
No, I just want to say thank you. I think suicide is something that people may feel sort of hesitant to talk about or feel quiet about, whether if they notice something in somebody else or if they're going through it themselves. But I think the one thing I learned is that talking about it doesn't increase the percentage of a person committing suicide. So in fact, it kind of opens up the doorway to kind of say, come share your burden with me. And I want to keep sending that message to every single person in this community, whether you're an adult or a student, that you are never alone and that there are people that ready and willing to help, and organizations and resources are available to everyone. So thank you for that.
Which staff got the training?
So our school psychologists at all of our buildings and our social workers.
Great, thank you so much.
No problem.
Then,
Sure. So Dr. Evelyn Berger in our elementary school psychology class at Roaring Brook, she put together an Instagrant for the Superflex SEL tools. And basically it's a bundle of curriculum guides and teaching guides with supplementary materials that we can easily implement across our 3 elementary schools with our school psychologists with very little support or, training needed to assist our children in social thinking skills, how they observe, interpreting clues, how they take others' perspectives, and problem solving in social scenarios. So this is really going to enhance our practices by giving the school psychologists at the elementary level more tools to help our students achieve their goals.
then Adam, did you talk about?
Yeah, so you also see 5.9 on the agenda is the approval or the recommendation to approve the CSF Instagrant for about just over $2,400 for some cardboard cutting tools. Anybody that's tried to recycle cardboard or cut cardboard knows it can be tricky and dangerous. And so these tools make it really accessible for students. We use cardboard in our STEAM center often to prototype and build models and things like that. So this makes it, safe and easy for students to cut cardboard. And you can see it was submitted by Mr. Rotstein and Mr. Whitney at the Bell STEAM Center. So you'll see that there on 5.9.
Chomp sauce.
Chomp sauce.
And that is the end of the superintendent's update. We had a lot of nice activities that are coming up. We have our drama production here at the middle school. We have a few community events. We have our OLAS event next Friday. And so I'm hoping that everyone has a nice Thanksgiving, and we will see everyone back in December. And that is the end of the superintendent's report.